If you were to put together all the days that I have returned to the United Kingdom since coming here to my place with the balcony that overlooks the Atlantic Ocean, it would amount to about 3 weeks. 3 weeks in just over 3.5 years. It's not surprising then that whenever I do return to the United Kingdom, I notice things that perhaps people who live there don't notice. But when I last returned there just a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that the United Kingdom felt even more isolated than it has been in the past. The United Kingdom has always been a bit of a self-contradiction. It has a very strong island mentality, and yet it has a very proud history of international trade. And I know for some, Brexit is an opportunity to have that freedom again, to get out there and trade with all of the countries throughout the world. The United Kingdom has always justified itself and measured itself on its global trade. And nowhere is this more obvious than in the Brexit negotiations, where the almost entire discourse seems to be about trade. Very little is to do with people, and even less is to do with culture and research and development, whose sole purpose is to improve our lives rather than just conduct business. A once great empire, the United Kingdom now seems to be a prisoner of its own nostalgia, forever trying to replicate what it once had, projecting its glorious past onto the blank canvas of its future possibilities. It seems to offer no more than reruns, remakes and sequels. When I returned to the United Kingdom just a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that island mentality is a little bit stronger. We are closing the drawbridge on Europe and the rest of the world. And although that might not be because of Brexit, certainly Brexit is influencing that development. And that's worrying for two reasons. Firstly, it stops us from being able to compare ourselves with other nations. It stops us being motivated, inspired and challenged to improve ourselves as a nation. And nowhere is that more obvious than in how fat people are becoming in the United Kingdom. Now, being an individual who is overweight is not a problem, but when that is replicated throughout an entire nation, that is alarming. And I'm sorry, United Kingdom, you are getting fat. Somebody needs to say this. I have never seen so much use of mobility scooters as I see in the United Kingdom. And if we allowed ourselves to compare ourselves with our neighbouring countries, we would be able to see that difference. And you too would be alarmed. And the second worrying factor is that by cutting ourselves off, we allow successive governments to lie to us more easily. And that shapes our opinion of the world, our understanding of the world, and where we fit in it. And if you think I'm exaggerating, let me ask you a question. What do you know about the Prime Minister of Spain? What do you know of his or her political beliefs? Spain is one of our top tourist destinations, and yet we know so little about that country. What has our media and government told us about the recent scandal in the Spanish royal family and how that created a surge in republicanism in that country? What do we know about Portugal, Belgium, the Czech Republic? These are our neighbouring nations, and they are going to have a huge impact on Brexit and our lives after. And yet we allow ourselves to know so little about these countries. What do we know about Australia, New Zealand, the Commonwealth countries that we are supposed to now start to trade with? When I was in New Zealand recently, I was genuinely gobsmacked at how much personal and social freedoms each individual has in New Zealand in comparison to what we have in the UK. Check it out, you will be amazed. Brexit doesn't have to mean we close the drawbridge, but that's what seems to be happening, and that is such a shame, because it stops us being able to compare, and it stops us being able to be aware of what is going on. There are so many exciting things going on in Europe, and we get to hear so little of them. And my worry is that the little piece of information that we do get will be silenced even further. And when we close that drawbridge, we will self-exile ourselves into the shadows. And we will suffer because of that. Because the view from a drawbridge is no view at all.